All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm very excited to get to speak with your family and learn a little bit more about Colin and a little bit more about Down syndrome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Can you tell me who you have with you today?
I'm Mom, Carrie McCarthy. This is Colin McCarthy, my husband, John McCarthy, and Liam McCarthy.
I'm 6.
You just turned 6, and Colin is 10. Yep, so previously before we had some difficulties and we miscarried 2 children, and then we were pregnant with Colin, and they wanted to do some testing. So some of it was at risk to miscarry, and I think we just made a decision that whatever God gives us and whatever we're blessed with, we're going to be happy. So I think as time went on, and we do a lot of ultrasounds because it was a high risk pregnancy, just due to the past miscarriages, they started noticing some things, and as we were going along with it, we learned a lot too. So some of the key things was the back of the neck is a little bit thicker. Mm-hmm. They do not have a bridge on the nose. So all of these things they started to see as time goes on. Shorter stature. They just were, and we were pretty much like, hey, it is what it is. And I think right before Colin was born, I actually called Boston Children's Hospital, the Down syndrome program, and said, I think it was like a month out, we were about to have Colin, and I said, I'm pregnant, I'm about to give birth to a little guy with Down syndrome, tell me everything. When do I make my first appointment? Right. So that's when the education started. And I think we were just excited, honestly. I think just the birthday came, and Colin, they held him up high. We had a section, and it was one of the best days because he came out and he was 10 fingers, 10 toes.
Excellent.
We were happy.
As all new parents should be.
Yeah, at that point, I was happy that he was healthy and we were able to have him. Mm-hmm. And I was familiar with some Down syndrome children, so and they're adorable and the most loving children. So I was excited, but obviously nervous for his health.
Sure.
And as it went along, and the guidance of Children's Hospital helped, and the doctors were fantastic. The nurses were fantastic. He was, once you held him, he was like any other child. So yeah. You kind of look through it, and these days that you forget that he has Down syndrome.
Yeah, so our OBGYN at the time, they were really trying to educate parents who found out that their children had Down syndrome. There's a range, there's kids who are very high functioning. Colin has some friends that are extremely high functioning with Downs, and Colin has autism too, which can happen, not all the time. Mm-hmm. And he is part of the complex care at Children's, so he is more on the severe end. But a lot of Colin's friends, they are reading. Maybe it just takes longer. Mm-hmm. They're eating. They're in inclusion classes. They're just a part of life like anybody else. So it may take them longer to do things, but they are thriving and doing well. Everybody is who he is. So basically, the advice I got is don't compare. Mm-hmm. Everyone's different. With Down syndrome, and honestly, I thank God for Children's Hospital too, because they have, the minute we had Colin, they literally wrapped their arms around. It was scary, I'm not gonna lie. You know, some of the stuff that Colin has had to go through. We had to make some tough choices with his breathing. He was stopping breathing. We had to make some very, very tough choices. So he was at Medway Public Schools.
Okay.
So preschool, I'm like, oh, I think he might be able to do this. I think. Time went on, and as it got harder, it was very difficult for him. And we started noticing that that he, when they're younger and as they start getting older, you start noticing some different things, and maybe it's more medical. So Colin is very anxious, has a very bad anxiety, some OCD, and then that's when we really started noticing, like, I think he has more than Down syndrome, the autism and stuff. So it was getting difficult. Medway did, you know, as best as they could, but he needed the care of KDS.
Right.
He needed that. It was a journey to find a school. Oh, it was hard. But I think when we called Boston Children's, we're like, where are we going to send Colin? And they said, Kennedy Day School, you need to go. And we walked in there, and people told us, like, you'll get that feeling and you'll know. We got the feeling.
When he rides on them.
Oh, here's a ride-on toy. You guys ride on together?
Yeah, they both have little ride-on toys and race around the house.
That sounds so fun.
Fun. And you're good to Colin too. So Liam had some time today, and he was helping Colin.
Or school.
In his activity.
Amazing. What a good brother you are.
Protective over Colin. The people ask, right? You just said he needs more time. He's special, right? Yeah, you're a good brother to Colin.
I'm like Gigi. I'm like Gigi.
What, do you like all your teachers?
I was supper.
Oh, you're talking about Lisa, her bird. So that's like one of the big things for me. So we tried keeping Colin part of like the Medway community. It's a big thing. So we used to do, you know, before pandemic times, but CCD, mainstream with his Medway classmates, and the kids were very, very interested, very curious. You know, sometimes Colin would flap his arms, or he would maybe not talk fully clearly. So, you know, we spoke with the priest, and we knew that that kids needed to be able to ask their questions and to be educated and not be afraid. So, you know, he came into the room, and we were able to, you know, talk about Down syndrome and let the kids just really ask the questions, no matter what, and just explain to them, like, why can't he talk? Why does he need a speaking device? Why did he flap his arms? You know, and, you know, why does he wear a diaper? You know, not all Down syndrome kids are this way, but Colin is.
Right.
And, you know, we would kids take the time and explain to them. But in the end, they knew that no matter what, when it came down to playing games, Colin just wanted to run with them, play with them, and be their friend. And I think once they got to know Colin and were educated, the fear was no more, and they started to partner with Colin, help him play a game. It's just lack of education that needs to go out there, and fear of young kids, and it's normal, and they just need to be educated. A lot of people do. Yep, so I noticed, like, when we used to pick Liam up for preschool, the lineup, and Colin used to be there, and the parents were, like, really watching. Really watching. And I think after a few times, they were getting more comfortable and able to ask, like, kind of like your day in the life, or is it really, he's, bolting off, why I'm holding him, and, for the safety. But I'm explaining to whatever question they had, whether it's medically or why can't he talk, I get a lot of that. It just, he is who he is. It's going to take him longer to learn. Will he ever talk? I get that. No, we just keep trying every day.
Right.
But the best part of it, though, is he gives them a hug. So then the parents started loving it. And then they're like, Colin! And then they'd get the big hug because he's so lovable and gives everybody a hug. So now he's like the mayor.
I'm a baby.
What?
Okay, well, he has his own hopes and dreams.
It's okay.
He's adorable.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the best way to do it is to take, baby steps and every day at a time. And,
Take a break for him.
as a 10-year-old, he's the innocence. Not too many parents with 10-year-olds that, their son calls them, tells them they miss them, hugs them every day, and all day long. So it's like constantly having like a little baby with you. He's just sweet and loving to everybody. So even, you picture the grumpiest person.
Their hearts are going to grow.
He makes their hearts grow. He makes them, putty in his hands. So I just like to take things one day at a time with him. And just enjoy the time I do have with him. And, you have to plan for his future. And that's like, we're in that process now. With him being 10 and thinking who's going to take care of him afterwards and make sure he's all set. That's just some of the things you have to remember when you have a Down syndrome child. Any special needs child. You have to think about their future when you're gone.
Right.
So that's one of the challenging things.
That's probably the hardest.
And that's the hardest thing, like who's going to take care of him? How can he be? So that's some of the things that we have to work on at a young age.
I know, like, we're very fortunate at the Down syndrome clinic at Boston Children's. They definitely, they let you know, like, ahead of time what you need to do. KDS also helps and guides you to learn what the next steps are and what to do. There are a lot of resources and there is a lot of help. It's just asking, but I have to say, like, Boston Children's and the Down syndrome clinic, I could ask the silliest question, or I think it's the silliest question, or whatever it is, they answer anything and everything. And if they don't have the answer, they find it. In the virtual world, when Colin likes to pop on and join the other kids, and maybe Colin's not speaking clearly, or I say, like, he's babbling. And then the other kids are like, what's wrong with your brother? And I can see Liam just kind of go in. And I'm like, yeah, loud and proud. He's just special, but he's your brother. And loud and proud. And he does it. And then they just play. The kids are like, oh, okay. I can't believe it.
Well, you develop some skills that you may not have. So,
we've learned a lot.
Yeah, I mean, patience is the main one. Patience, it's hard every day, but you got to be patient, and you have to learn to accept a lot of differences. Like I said, you can't compare, but you got to know that he will get there. It will just take time and patience.
Colin is Colin.
That's who it is. But there's one thing that we'll always have, and like I said, a 10-year-old that tells you he loves you, he misses you, and he hugs you every day. The innocence are taken any day of the week.
Yeah, that, and he's, you know, Colin, depending upon like the range of Down syndrome too, it changes your life. It's not, at first when you hear the news, you get scared. It's not, there are a lot of sacrifices as parents that you have to make. Some maybe more than others. Like I'm with Colin 24/7. That was our family choice, that we felt was best for Colin. But I wouldn't change it for the world. I've learned so much. He's actually taught me a lot, like huge. I just couldn't imagine my life any different. And it takes a village. And I have to say, I think all the teachers at KDS, there is a lot. There's a big village there to help us and guide us, especially during this time, the pandemic and doing virtual. It's like, wow, can I do this? And they've got us every step of the way, and supported us. And he's actually doing great. It's helped with his anxiety and stuff, but it takes a village. It's not only us.
It's the one word. It's teamwork.
Teamwork.
So family, friends, teachers, and doctors, all on the same page. Don't ever refuse the help. Take every resource you can get,
And
it's
educate.
it's only going to help.
I think the best part, like today, what did we do? We celebrated. He counted to 18 with his teacher. I was like, what? I'm like,
That's amazing.
did you say it? Is he saying it? Best moments ever. Or saying a sentence, or what? Just like, it's the littlest things, but it's amazing. It just makes your day. And I don't know. I love them to pieces, and wouldn't change anything for the world. And anybody, my view is, if anybody's second guessed, don't ever, because they're the best children ever. I have a huge amount of friends with children with Down syndrome, and they are the most amazing children ever. Love them, embrace them. They're awesome.